Hello and welcome to San Diego State University Spring 2023 LDT685, the Performance Technology for Organizations class. I am your instructor, Kevin Storm Jorgensen. If you don't see me right now in the video, use your mouse to scroll around. This is shot on a 360-degree camera, so you have control over looking around my office here and seeing where I teach class. We're going to also be looking at the screen. You see the screen right here of our Canvas page right next to you here. So you can scroll back and forth between myself, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So yeah, again, this is shot with 360-degree camera, give you a little bit more options to preview the video. My name is Kevin Storm Jorgensen. As I said, I'm going to be your instructor for the 685 class, and this welcome video is really just to say hi and welcome, and also give you some information about things you need to do to be prepared for our first class session. And because our first class session will be on Monday, January 23rd at 4 p.m. Pacific time via Zoom. So this is a completely virtual remote class. So we will be meeting Zoom throughout every class session at that time. Now, speaking of that time, we'll get into this a little bit later, but that may change. But as of right now, the first session will be at that 4 o'clock time. One of the first things I need to let you know about is Canvas notifications. Get those set up. So after you have your SDSU email all set up and you have access to Canvas, all of you should have access to the course Canvas page, make sure you set up your Canvas notifications so that when changes and announcements and things happen on Canvas associated to this course, you get an email notification. I've had students in the past that did not have that set up, so they didn't know that some assignments criterias had changed, or that the class time had changed, or that there was some important information, important resources about the class were made available. They didn't know about that because they didn't have their notifications set up, and so they fell behind. So make sure you set up your Canvas notifications to your SDSU email and have those emails sent to your devices or your email address or your Outlook or whatever, however you're checking your email, so that you keep up to date on everything that's going on in the class, because updates will occur throughout the entire semester, not just on the days that we meet. You will have activities and assignments and things that are happening throughout the entire week. So make sure you keep up to date on that. Now, the second thing I want to mention is about Zoom and how to access the class. So in Canvas, as you see here, we're on the home page of Canvas. Each session is going to be listed in its associated module and with all the Zoom details. So for instance, Module 1 is going to be our first class session on January 23rd, and you can go to the module section here and click on Module 1. And there you will find a description of the course, of the session, and the Zoom details on when we're going to meet and that link. And I will mention that the Zoom link will change week to week. Each session has its own individual specific Zoom link. So if you use a Zoom link from a previous module, that won't work. You'll be all alone in the class. So make sure you are in the appropriate Zoom link. Now, the only exception to that is I do have a stable, static office Zoom link, and we'll get in a little bit more of that later. But anytime you need to reach out to me via my office or come to my office hours, that will always be the same link. So you don't have to worry about that. But for each module, make sure you're using that Zoom link as listed in the module. You can also access that here in the Zoom section of Canvas. In fact, this is probably the preferred way, because it has every single class session that where we'll be meeting, and all the Zoom details and a join button right there, all listed in that Zoom section. So you can access all the information you need, make sure you're making it to the classes and getting the right Zoom links there. I'd also recommend adding these classes to your calendar so that you don't miss out on our class sessions, and that goes along with the notifications through Canvas. There's going to be assignments that are going to have specific due dates, and if you have them in your calendar, your personal calendar, your work calendar, however you're going to be keeping track of the class, then that will make it much easier for you. Canvas does have its own calendar system, so that works out really well as well, so you can use that. But yeah, Zoom links all available there, and as another note of Zoom, keep your Zoom up to date. We will be using some of the features available in the most recent versions of Zoom. So if you have an out-of-date version of Zoom, you may not be able to participate in those activities during the class session. So keep your Zoom up to date. And I will say that the best way to access the Zoom class is through a desktop or laptop computer. It really gives you the leeway of accessing multiple things that are going on. We're going to be using some items in the Google G Suite of documents and Jamboards as class activities, as well as referencing other sites and things like that throughout the semester. So if you're accessing class on a laptop or desktop computer, that is best. But if you must access class through a handheld device, a phone, a tablet, something like that, that will work as well. You may not be able to be as agile as necessary or to get the most out of the class, but it will certainly work. So yeah, that's all for the synchronous session. Now I will mention for asynchronous sessions, and in fact, I'm going to jump into the modules here. In the module 0, actually, let me go jump into module 1 first, because this is about asynchronous. This is a resource available for those that are going to be participating asynchronously. So you will get the most out of this class if you come to class during the class sessions. If you're there in person, camera on, participating, that is where you really get the most out of the class. However, I understand that not everybody is going to be able to do that. Some of us are in different time zones all over the world. We have different obligations, different work schedules, and something may prevent you from making it to class during the chosen time. And I will not grade you down for not making it to the class, although I highly recommend you do make it to class, but I will not be graded down on that. As long as you participate asynchronously. And in each module, there will be an asynchronous discussion link, a discussion post, where you can post your insights, thoughts, and questions related to that module's material there in that discussion post. And there will be occasionally some focus questions that you will have to answer. So I advise everyone, whether you're participating synchronously or asynchronously, to go there and put your thoughts, your ideas in, and answer those focus questions. But for those that are asynchronously, that are not able to make it to class, that is going to be a requirement. You must make it. For each session that you miss, you must go to that discussion board and interact and ask questions and pose your comments and thoughts and reflections about the content there. Now, you will have access to the course recordings. So every class is recorded and will be posted in the module, so you'll be able to watch the class after the class session, and it's helpful for those that are there in class to review the material, or those that are not, and you can watch it then. But then you'll definitely have to take advantage of that discussion post board there. Also, I will mention that there is an open Q&A discussion, open QA lounge. So if you have any general questions about the course or really anything related to the learning and development field, organizational performance technology field, you can go ahead and post them there. Although that is an open forum, so make sure that you keep the information or the questions related to something that's open. Any private conversations, any private questions, please send that directly to me or whoever they're targeting, and then we can address it that way. But yeah, the open Q&A lounge is available if you have those sorts of questions. Could be access to Canvas, not being able to get into the Zoom room, or whatever it might be. And speaking of contacting me, though, you do have access. You can access me in my personal Zoom room on my office hours, which are Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m. And you can find that if we go over to the pages. Let's see, module 0. I believe it's in there. Contact me. There we go. So here is about your instructor, about me page, and there you will find all of the information about my office hours, the Zoom room link, and you'll notice my phone number is there as well. So if you're not able to jump into the class during class time, you're having some problems, give me a ring, and we might be able to help you out, and at least let me know that you're not able to make it or you're having some problems. And if you notice that my Zoom room, my office hours Zoom room, is the same as my phone number, so that's easy to remember. If if you don't remember, you don't have access to the link, go ahead and type in my phone number in Zoom and as the Zoom room, and then you should be able to access it. Email address is there, as well as my consultation scheduler. As a part of my service to all the students here, I open up my entire schedule that I'm available for consultations, for one-on-one or one-group consultations. If you have questions about the class, about your academic career, or even professionally, if you have some questions about the L&D field and working in the field, or anything that you need, you can contact me and we can schedule a consultation outside of class and office hours. So that schedule is up to date with everything that's on my calendar, showing my free times. So what you'll do is, I'll show you right here. I think it's right here. So you'll pick a date. Let's say you wanted to meet on the 25th. And you go there, and this shows all the times I am available. So you can then pick a time that works for you, and it'll send me an invite letting me know that you scheduled a time, and I will meet you and will provide you the Zoom room link and everything you need so that we can meet. And this schedule is kept up to date. So anytime I get another scheduling or whatever, it will cut out hours. I might, suddenly I have a 4:00 p.m. appointment, so that will no longer be available. So you don't have to worry too much about my schedule being open. That is an up-to-date schedule of mine. Please use that if you have any questions, concerns about the class, or anything in general about your academic career or professional growth, anything like that. That's service available to you. All right, now I want to jump a little bit into the modules. So there are some to-do items about that we have to complete. We're going to hit the ground running here on this first week. So in Module 0, which you should be able to access right now, in fact, you're accessing this video through Module 0, there are some items there that we need to discuss. First off is the syllabus, and this entire section of read, watch, listen, discuss. These items, whenever they appear in a module 0 being an exception, but in Module 1, 2, 3, and so on, those are items that you must complete prior to meeting in class. So for Module 1, there's an article to read and a video to watch. Have those watched and read before the class on the 23rd, because the class is going to be about those items, and you're going to have to come fully prepared to discuss and reflect upon them and participate in activities that are involving that information. But in Module 0, there is the detailed syllabus there, so you should read that one. This video is accessible there, obviously, as well as the Module 1 link, so you can go directly to the Module 1 there, where there's some more items for you to complete before first class. There is also a pre-course survey. Now, assignments in each of the modules don't have to necessarily be completed by the session date. Those assignments have their own individual due dates. So, such as the pre-course survey, which I believe still does have a due date before our first class, but other assignments in the future will have upcoming due dates into the future. So make sure you take a look at those due dates and you're completing them on time. But the pre-course survey for Module 0 is very important for you to complete. I want to get an idea of who you are, what your constraints are when it comes to meeting in class, and what your technological capabilities are when it comes to meeting online. Are you using your phone, using a tablet, do you have a computer, that sort of thing, what time zone you're in. So those are some of the questions that are asked in the pre-course survey, and that will help us decide what time we're going to have our class. Right now it is scheduled for 4 p.m., from 4 to 7 p.m. Ideally, we normally don't spend more than 2 hours in lecture and discussion and activities. So we have a little bit of room to move things around, and I want to get an idea of when would be a good time for you to meet. So that will be done in that pre-course survey. So make sure you fill that one out by our first class session. We are still meeting at 4 o'clock in our first class session, but the results of that survey may impact the future class sessions. I mentioned the course text. Course texts are available here. So if you click on the course text page there, you will find a list of what the required texts are. First one is the Fundamentals of Performance Improvement. This is a really important and great book, great resource. I have been referencing this for several years, so I highly recommend you pick this up, as well as the second book, First Things Fast by Allison Rossett. Both of these are really great books to have in your library, your personal library. But if you do not feel like you need or you want a hard copy book, I completely understand why. In the days of digital technologies and digital information, physical media is kind of going away. You can access both these books for free on the SDSU or through the SDSU website and the O'Reilly Safari Books Online. So completely available for free if you want to access them online. I recommend having them as a physical copy. You can make notes in them. You can create kind of a personal connection with the book. Makes it much easier to consume the information. But if you prefer to do it digitally, you be you. Go ahead and whatever you like on that one. So that's your decision. And so yeah, links for both of those are available in that course canvas. The course text page. There's also prerequisite text. Now, this is a graduate level course, a higher level graduate level course, and you should have taken the 540 class, the LDT 540 class prior to this, or something comparable. And we're going to jump off a lot of the information that was provided in there, including these two books by Robert Mager. So Analyzing Performance Problems by Robert Mager and Peter Pipe, and Goal Analysis by Robert Mager. Now, these are not required texts for this class. They are prerequisite class texts. So you should have read those already before joining this class. If you haven't, please pick them up. They're quick reads. They're pretty fun, actually. They're fun and funny books. So pick those up and make sure that you have those ready. You consume that information so that you're fully prepared to have this class, because we're going to be jumping off of a lot of the concepts and ideas that are from those two books. And they're great books to have in your library as well. Those are not available. From what I know, they're not available digitally. Those are ones you do have to purchase from the Mager Consortium website. So you may need to do a little bit of internet searching. I'll try to update this with a link to access those. I don't know if they're available in the library. I know they're not available online library, so you may have a little bit of trouble getting a hold of them, but certainly do your best in getting them because they're going to be very important books for our discussions and the whole class in general. So yeah, that's it for the prerequisites and the required texts. So let's go back to the module. So in Module 0, course text, set up Canvas notifications. There's a link there to access the Canvas notifications information, as well as that open Q&A lounge I mentioned earlier. So if you have any questions about the course or anything in general, you can discuss in the QA lounge. Now, in Module 1, this is the module that relates to what we're going to be going over at our first class session. So this is an important one to complete and go through before our first class session. So you can, there's a description of this module, what we're going to be doing, the Zoom links, of course. Here is the article. It's actually a chapter from a book through O'Reilly Online. It's a free book for you to access about what performance technology is. So please read through that. In fact, it makes it easy, because if you're kind of an audio sort of person, you can it has a text-to-speech option, so you can even have it read to you. I usually do a little bit of both personally. I'll have it read to me, and then I'll read along with it. It allows me to step aside, take care of something while still being in with the book. So that's just how I do it, but you do you. The text and audio are there. There's also a video about why you should study human performance technology, where it kind of it differentiates between HPT, human performance technology, and instructional design. So make sure you watch that video as well, because we're going to have some activities regarding that in class. And the discussion posts. The discussion posts are very important. Now, especially if you're going to be participating asynchronously. So this class, you get the most out of this class by coming to class, joining, participating in the class sessions and activities. But if you are not able to do that for whatever reason, we do post the class sessions videos after class, so you can watch that. Now, it doesn't have everything, because breakout sessions and some activities may not be recorded, but the main class lecture and discussions are. So you can watch them, and then if you do not make it to class, then you will be required to post your thoughts, reflections, and answer questions in the discussion post, and that's linked there. So you'll click on that, and that'll take you to the appropriate discussion post regarding that particular module, and there you will post your reflections on the material that is covered in the readings, the videos you watched, as well as the lecture and activities that you've seen in the video. So if you are participating asynchronously, you will be required to do that. However, if you're not participating, if you make it to class, you don't have to do that, but I still highly recommend you do. And in fact, I highly recommend no matter what, you at least take a look at those discussion posts, because there is focus questions that need to be answered. Occasionally, not every single time, but there may be a particular focus question that will need to be answered in that discussion post. So take a look there and answer that question, and then you'll be fine. Assignments, there are a couple assignments that are due, I believe, after class, after the first session. Take a look at them. It has the due date listed there, so make sure that you complete those by the due date. There'll be a link to a Google Doc activity that we're going to do during class, so that's available there. And of course, this is where we're going to post the class recordings and the slides, where every time we have a class, we'll be posting the slides either a day or two before, or try to get as early as possible so you're fully prepared. Typically in a seminar course, and this is a seminar course, the structure of each class can vary a bit. So slides, we might not stick to slides, or I might have to adapt slides based on conversations and that we had in previous weeks. So putting the slides up too early could result in some misalignment for what we actually do. So typically the slides will come up a couple days before the actual class session and are available for reference after the class session. All right, I think that's about it when it comes to going through the modules. Assignments are listed here as well, so you get a detailed list of all the assignments listed. You may not have access to all of them, but they are listed there. Not immediately accessed, you will have access to them later. But I believe that's it. Let's go through my notes, make sure that we have discussed everything. And I believe so. So yeah, make sure your Zoom is up to date. Get your email notifications set up through Canvas. Look over Module 0, complete that pre-course survey. Take a look at Module 1, do the readings, watch the video, and reach out to me if you have any questions. All right, so I look forward to seeing you all in class. Have a good one.